Hello everyone. Hello sir. Welcome to the webinar arranged on this wonderful day we have, that is National Science Day. I am Vaishnavi Kamlakar Patil, student at BRIMS from Vashishta Division. On behalf of BRIMS IIC, I would like to welcome Dr. Sudhakar Agarkar sir. Welcome sir. From last 3 to 4 sessions, we have heard sir. He has shared valuable information, knowledge about his expertise for many topics with us. Now, Sir has joined us again to share his knowledge and experience on the topic of science and technology in post-independence era. So, before we go further, let me give you a short information about Dr. Agarkar sir. Sir has completed his chemistry in MSc from MSc, PhD in science education. Sir has a long career in mathematics and science education at Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education. For over 4 decades from now, Sir has managed to make his name in the field of science and mathematics. Presently, he is engaged himself in understanding a rich Indian heritage in science and mathematics and spreading awareness about it between students, teachers, and even parents. Sir is a global trotter. He has been he has got invitations and delivered many lectures internationally also. Now Sir has been here with us for many sessions from now. Sir, in collaboration with his son, Dr. Agarkar, has initiated a startup named Edu30 Knowledge Solution Private Limited. Sir has recently a mobile app named Arios and has been launched that enables students to experience science concepts through augmented reality in interactive modes. Now, I will request Sir Dr. Agarkar sir to brief us about the topic, that is science and technology in post-independence era.
Good. Thank you. Let me first promise you that I will not give you a long lecture, so that some of you might be worrying we might get delayed, etc. So it's not a long lecture. Another thing is, it is not that serious also. So I am going to share my experiences with you of a long career at a very famous institute called the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. And I had an opportunity to visit variety of uh, countries. So let me recall an experience 34 years ago, 1988. That was a spring. The spring was already started. I was invited to address a gathering at the place called Karlslund Strand near Copenhagen in Denmark, 1988. And you know usually what happens whenever there is a conference, there is a chairperson, and that chairperson has a responsibility of introducing who is going to speak. So the chairperson was John Kingston. John Kingston was chief of science and technology in UNESCO Paris. So before going to the stage, he asked me, what is your biodata? So 1988 computers were not common. So I got my biodata typed with as little mistakes as possible by a great typist who used to claim that he can type 120 words per minute. Hmm? Don't ask me with how many mistakes. So I gave that paper to this man, to John Kingston. John Kingston looked at it, gave it back to me. No, some people have camera vision, but I did not understand how could he manage to know just in a few seconds about me. When he stood up to introduce me, the statement that he made, I still remember, is as follows. I am going to introduce a young man, 34 years, I was looking young. Huh? I was young, of course. Uh, so I am going to introduce a young man who has come from an institution that has shattered the world by testing nuclear bomb. That was my introduction. So after that, I made a presentation, having a good oratory based on research. The presentation went very well, etc., etc. In the lunchtime, I went to John Kingston and asked him, "What is this method of introduction? You are not told what my qualifications are. You are not told what my research is. You said, young man come from an institution that has shattered the world by atom bomb. So I can only spell atom. I cannot split atom." So he said, "Young man, not only I have introduced you, your institution, but your country as well." I said, "How?" He said, "The country which stood on its own feet somewhere in 1950, testing a nuclear bomb in 1974 is a great achievement. And the entire theoretical work was done by your institution, and therefore I have introduced you that way. I have one bad habit, and that bad habit is if someone says something, I start thinking about that, why he said so. If someone scolds me, I start analyzing why he has scolded me. If there is an accident, I start analyzing why this accident occurred, with a scientific mind. So I started thinking. And then I realized that what this John Kingston was saying was really true. The entire world knew about the power of atom in 1945 when America bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki towards the end of Second World War. In fact, that ended the Second World War. 1945. 1947, we became independent. Just 5 years after that, in 1952, Atomic Energy Commission was established in India. 1952. Parliament, all the MPs opposed Pandit Nehru. All MPs said, "What is this going on? We do not have enough to eat. We don't have good infrastructure. And you are thinking of atom? Is it possible for us?" So Pandit Nehru said, "We have to work at both the fronts. Not only at the front of giving food, and also at the forefront of atom. And now we claim to be nuclear power station." What happened to Ukraine? After, everyone wanted there should be peace, etc., etc. Ukraine had dismantled all its nuclear bombs, and now there is a bombarding from Russia. No one can dare to do this with India because after 1974, 1998, when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister, we tested another bomb. And that is a different bomb. I will not go into the details of what that is. And you might be surprised to know, 1998 May, we had this testing. And 1998 July, I was to go to USA. So I went to US Embassy here in Mumbai. They say, "We cannot give you visa." Why? Because you belong to an institution which is banned. Why banned? Because you tested nuclear bomb. You means your country. So I told him, "Sir, once again the same statement. I can spell atom. I cannot split atom. I am a poor education man working for the poor children. You can look at the invitation. This is the invitation from University of Chicago. They want to know how I teach mathematics to tribal children." So he was so pleased that he gave me 10 years visa. Anyway, so what the basic point that I am trying to tell you is, this is a most important development that we had after independence. So my first point is over. Okay. Now I take you to Australia. This was Western country. Now let me take you to Eastern country. It might be sometime 1994-95. First was 1988. This is 94-95. There was a conference in Brisbane. Brisbane, you might be knowing. If you look at the map of Australia, all those cities, wherever our cricketers go and play, they are on the seashore. Huh? In the middle, there is nothing, only sand. Okay, well, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth, top Darwin, this side Brisbane, then Sydney, like that. So there was a conference in Brisbane. So I had submitted. No. And then she said, we do not even have a space program. You must have seen we have only three ABC channels. ABC is Australian Broadcasting Corporation. They have only three channels. How many channels we have on TV? Don't dare to tell me, because by the time you tell, there will be addition of one or two. It's all because of our INSAT, Indian National Satellite, our space program. And then once again I started thinking what she was telling. Now let me, before I tell you, let me complete this story. So while going, I went like this, the poor man of a poor institute. While coming, a rich man of a rich institute of a rich country. So I came like this, and I said, "What? Why I'm calling myself poor?" And her statement was great, because only few countries have satellite of their own in the geostationary. I hope you know geostationary. Geostationary is at the 36,000 kilometers on top, and the rotation of the Earth and the rotation of the satellite is such that it always remains on India. And one more thing which I would like to tell you, that INSAT is the only satellite in the world, only satellite in the world that does three things simultaneously: remote sensing, telecommunication, and weather forecasting. Only satellite. I don't know whether you are aware of this. There was spying going on. And people wanted to spy what if it is there. So someone asked Vasant Gowarikar, who was in the ISRO, are you not worried of this spying? He said, doesn't matter whoever comes and spies. That it's such a complicated thing, you cannot duplicate it. So let them, and I'll tell you, India is the only satellite, if you can pat your back, you do it. The only satellite in the world which does three things simultaneously and successfully. For all other countries, they have three different satellites. Then I started thinking, and I found that 1962, the Space Commission was established as a part of Atomic Energy Commission. Homi Bhabha was heading both. 1966, Homi Bhabha died in a plane crash. You might be. 1964, sorry. 1964 is a bad year for us. Jawaharlal, Lal Bahadur Shastri died in Tashkent, and this man died in Italy. So after that, it came to Vikram Sarabhai, who gave the leadership, and now we have not our own space program, our own satellite, but we launch other satellite. 2 years ago, we have launched 108 satellites at a single time, out of which 2 were ours. 106 were from developed countries, and no one complained. हमको इधर जाना था उधर क्यों भेजा? No. Every satellite was launched in a particular time because we have developed cryogenic engine. You might be aware of this fact. There was a quarrel. USSR wanted to give us cryogenic. Cryo means cold. At minus 196 degrees Celsius, nitrogen gets liquefied. Okay, and at that low temperature, you need to develop an engine which works at that low temperature, because as you go up, the temperature goes down. Whatever works here will not work there. So America pressurized USSR that you should not give cryogenic engine. And Indian blood is like that. Indian blood is, if you say, don't do, I will do it. And this is from Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna was told, you don't go into the sea, there is a Kaliya Vardhan. ऐसा बोला है क्या? मैं जाता हूँ. So same is the case. We were told we will not give cryogenic engine. You are not giving, we will develop. They say we will not give supercomputer. You are not giving, we will develop. But we don't do it on our own. Anyway, that is our style of working. And then we have developed space program to such an extent that we are now, you can say third, second, fourth, whichever it may be. We can now go to Mangal. We can now go to Moon. And at some stage, we might think of going to Sun. Okay, so that is my second experience. Third experience, I'll take few more minutes. Third experience, let me take you to Russia. Russia is a very interesting country, beautiful country. And this was sometime 96, 97, that time. I was invited for an international conference on integrating science and technology in the classroom teaching, because my career had been the science education. And this was a very interesting conference. This was a conference in a ship sailing through Volga River. Volga, starts somewhere at St. Petersburg, goes down to Caspian Sea, very long river, almost like our Ganga. And at some stage it is very broad. 6 months it is only ice. Only 6 months water is liquid. So when it is in liquid, the ships move from one place to another. There are a very wonderful journey. There are locks whenever there is a difference of level, etc. I will not describe all that. But and the very interesting conference at that time because as the ship was moving, we had academic discussion. And as the ship stopped, we had sightseeing. And one interesting sight was a museum of rats. And they called the place Mushkin. In Russia, rat is called Mushak, which is our Sanskrit word. That will take me astray. Anyway, so whenever I give a lecture to an international audience, I search for some statements or some data which will shock them. अगदीच मराठीत सांगायचं म्हणजे ते गार पडले पाहिजेत. अशी सुरुवात का करायची असते सांगतो. अशी सुरुवात केली की पुढचं ते शांतपणे ऐकून घेतात. सो व्हॉट इज अवर shocking statement? So my first shocking statement was the number of children in the age group of 6 to 14 to which we are committed to give free and compulsory education constitutionally is 180 million. This is a statement I made. And my second statement was, so when you think of Indian education, you should think of this large number. Because when it's a question of large number, our classes are crowded. When it's a question of large number, the teacher-pupil ratio is low. And all those issues I wanted to tell. So 180 million means 18 crore. We are habituated with crore. So lecture went well, etc., etc. At the end of my lecture, one Russian professor stood up and said, Dr. Agarkar, there are two R's in my surname. I don't know, these American, Russian, European, they eat both the R's. Well, Agarkar, fine. Okay. I have a question for you. So what is the question? Question is, the number that you gave, is that true? What is the number? The number of children in this age group is 180 million. I said, sorry, I cannot claim it is true. But I can claim one thing, it cannot be less than that. Why? Because we add whole Australia every year. Okay? So it was, I'm speaking from 1991 census. So in 5-6 years, we must have added 5-6 Australia. So it has to be more than that. I thought he will ask me how many teachers you employ, etc., etc. You know what he asked? How do you feed them? That was an unexpected question. How do you feed them? Of course, I gave an answer at that time and somehow things went away. But then I started, why should he ask me this question? And then I realized because everyone asks questions based on their own experiences. After USSR broke, you might be aware, 1987 or so, it broke. And then was the perestroika and all that issues. 9 countries got separated. There was only 6 left. It's called Russian Federation. The population of Russian Federation at that time was 16 crore. And our children are 18 crore. For 16 crore, if they don't get wheat from Latvia, they have a problem. And here, children 18 crore. फिर उसके माता पिता उसके दादा दादी how many? So this was a question, and then I started thinking why he should ask this question. And once again, I go back. 1950, our population was 35 crores, and we did not have enough to eat. We did not have enough to eat, even though we were 35 crores. At one stage, we had to import red colored wheat which was called Milo. There is no one of my age, so they may not be able to testify this. Even you might not be able to testify. There was a Milo, and this Milo they used to feed their pigs, and because we were in need, we have imported that, and we used to distribute. At some stage, there were days when we were not getting rice in hotels. So that Milo का ये मिलता था, some sort of suji. And you will also be surprised to know that we did not have money to pay to USA for that throwaway food item, Milo. So USA, with great Tyagavritti, said that, okay, if you are not give, okay, you pay us in rupees, we'll keep in Indian bank. We had no dollars at that time. So that money has been kept in Indian bank, and using that money, either the American experts come to India or Indian experts go to America. So I'm one of the beneficiaries of that. So therefore I know what it is. So that Milo has benefited one tour of mine to USA. I went to Salt Lake City. So what I'm trying to tell you is from that stage. So what was, if you look at the 5-year plannings, 1950 we started 5-year plannings. Now they have stopped 5-year planning. But 1950 we had first 5-year planning. First, second, you try to analyze, you will find our focus was on enhancing food grains production. And that was a great revolution. Swaminathan was the person who was responsible for this. Variety of things have been done. And now we have almost quadrupled, not tripled. 4 हो गया ना अभी, 4 times हो गया ना. We have enough to eat. When there was a tsunami, we have filled one big ship with food grains and sent it to Indonesia. And we have said we don't need any help from anyone else. So from this stage, a begging bowl to this stage of giving is the science and technology of India. So what I'm trying to tell you is this is a post-independent period. It is because of science and technology that we have done, because our science and technology policies will say we'll focus on this. I'll take one more example and then stop. Everyone is so much interested in USA, so I must say something about USA. So this was a National Council of Teachers of Mathematics of USA, which invited me to share my experiences of what is called remedial education. I'm known for that, remedial education. If you go and Google search, you'll find all this information. So I, of course, shared my experience, and having my oratory and with PowerPoint, etc., everything went well. Towards the end, one American professor stood up and said, Dr. Agarkar, I have a question. Once again, they eat both R's. What is the question? The question was, what type of mathematics do you teach? Your students come here and grab all IT positions. What type of mathematics do you teach? I thought this is a very good opportunity for me. My response was, I said, sir, there is no need to teach mathematics to our children. Mathematics is in our genes. You forget all those who have gone to school, who have remembered multiplication tables. I can show you a lady who sells vegetables who have never seen the school but can calculate faster than you and me. Because it is in our gene and we have a long tradition of mathematics, and doing multiplication, etc., etc., and that logical thinking which comes from mathematics is there. And then once again, I started thinking. Somewhere in 1980, we started providing services. Not the computers became very common later on, somewhere in 1980s, and after 1991, after opening up, we have done. Now we are controlling IT almost totally. You think of Microsoft, there is an Indian. You think of Google, there is an Indian person. And Tata Consultancy Services is the second largest employing company in United Kingdom. It's because, and I can give you the entire history of how information technology developed, etc., etc. That's where we have progressed a lot. So through my examples, I'll give you 4 points. Number one was atomic energy, which is a great success. Second was space science, which is a great success. Third is food production, which is a great success. And fourth is information technology, which is a great success. It doesn't mean everything is done. There is no time for complacency. We have given attention on this, it's okay. But now we have to worry about sustainability. Can we sustain this? And if you want to sustain this, we must think of alternative sources of energy. It could be solar, it could be wind power, whatever it may be. Unless we think of that, we will not be able to provide energy because everyone needs energy. Na? The computer needs energy, the machinery needs energy, laptop, the mobile needs energy, everything. Our houses need energy, we're all energy. And this energy is produced by burning coal, which has been created thousands of years ago, and there is no replenishment. No more coal is coming. Oil. And at the same time, by doing this, we are adding carbon dioxide to the environment that one doesn't know which part of Bombay will be under the sea after some year if the same thing continues. So we have to worry about sustainable development also. There is a tremendous scope. There is a tremendous scope for science and technology for the development of the country. I would like to just communicate with you that you are entering into the profession when India has a good name in the world. As I told you, I have been going abroad for the last 50 years, and I see when I introduce myself as an Indian, oh, Indian. Now, oh, Indian. This is a change. This is a change because of science and technology. And I don't know whether you will like the statement or not. Modi ji has done a great work in this to make India quite well known outside. And you can think of that. We could fly Air India into Romania and bring people, which is not a small thing. We could fly Air India flight to Kabul and bring people in that situation. This is a great diplomacy, and this comes with the strength. What I'm trying to say is diplomacy comes with the strength. Unless you are strong enough, no one will listen to you. And that strength comes through science and technology. Why Europe could control the world? Because of industrial development. It is the industrial development that gave them the strength. Okay? And just one example I'll give and stop. University of Cambridge was the first to start what is called Science Park. What do you mean by Science Park? Science Park is not a place of amusement. Science Park is a place where the scientists and the entrepreneurs will come together. Businessman. So scientists will share their findings and business people will think of how to make money out of it. And that's how industrial development took place. The universities have a great role to play. And hope something similar will occur in India. Thank you for your patient listening. I don't know how much time you have. If you have any question, I would be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful information, for this wonderful information and knowledge you gave us. This knowledge will definitely help us knowingly and unknowingly also. Isn't it, friends? So before we, yes, yeah, like, yes, sir.
We came to know about what India was before. We are like, some must be thinking like India तभी developed नहीं था इतना, but it's not. Sir, as sir told us, like he told us from 1950s to 1974 and all that. So we came to know that India was even developed at that time. It was developing, but it's on high stage. Even at that time. यही करते हैं और सिर्फ पता नहीं कि क्या डेवलप that got a good impression towards world of India. You got a good impression of the country. Potential. We must understand from our part that we have great potential in our country. We should use for ourselves. And we should not be dependent on any other country. Because initially when it was first achievement what India did in space was they sent 10 satellites simultaneously. And for that, they went to New York and asked for those what we say engines and boosters. But they mocked us in their newspaper showing some cartoons. So what we did was created our own engines, made what we say research and development was done, and we made our own engines and what we say aircraft, spacecraft, and we did what we can achieve on our own. Indians have a tendency of underestimating us, and we underestimate the potential that we have. We have to recognize that potential and we have to work through it. How many of people have all the potential? Yeah, even if the logic of having session of technology management. Technology is there, but there is a need for technology management. Science is there, but we need scientific management. So that is the approach which the world is looking forward for from you all. Think from that dimension. That how can you be part of that big management process where the big management of technology management gets engaged. Most leading technology and science management. We need the world. So that is the potential you have. And with that potential, we wish you all the best. Start thinking from it. We need to start thinking how we can do so much. And special thanks to you, sir, for this wonderful journey and wonderful stories. After the story will be there with you for your life.
Yes, sir, definitely, sir. I would like to mention, guys, sir is still young, right? Not just at 34. At that time, sir, we called it young. He's still young, right? We would like to hear much more from you, sir.
Are you aware of this series that was started by the Dr. Doshi, scientific discovery that changed world economics? None of you have already. We had 3 sessions. Yes. Coming third, that is every first Thursday of the month. suggested a very different format, discussion report.
I do follow for learning. So that is the best method for me to learn when I ask your questions. And I hope we want to learn basically. If we try with the master question, I will ask any question. That is what the problem which I want to get rid of in this. I do not ask questions. Our project, our brain answer. When you are question, you are the question. Science department, knowledge department, book department, knowledge department. Question. Like go giving our belief in our discussion. This belief set. And 2 years is good enough time for that.
Yes, sir.
So I wish you promise to come. And we are 3 months when we meet. We meet every month.
Yeah.
After 2-3 months, we want to see that there are so many questions that we say this is the last question. Should be the scenario. Because we should have a curiosity that is dead and anything. We want to see you very inspiring project. And thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.